Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I want to show you guys a really great game, and I'm going to use this game for what I'm going to be calling the Age of Empires 4 Playbook. And essentially what that means is I'm going to be taking case scenarios that aren't going to always apply to every single game you play, but are going to be really helpful case situations if you ever come across them. And this game, for example, we are going to be looking at how to defend an all-in when you're on a second TC. And that's going to be the entire purpose of the video, but I think this game in particular it's a great video to show you guys exactly what you should be doing in this situation. And the reason for that is because I actually get quite far behind in this game. So all the decisions that I make after I get behind have to be perfect, or else I'm going to end up losing the game, right? Because I'm behind in this game. And also up against a really good player, Scatterbrains. I would say top 16, top 24 player at the moment. So definitely not a game where I'm just kind of beating up on a noob. Sounds a bit mean, but sometimes that can be the truth, you know? Alright, so with all of that, and yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that this is something I might make into a series, depending on how many games or situations I can find that are really helpful to you guys. Because obviously I want all my videos to be as helpful as possible, right? Alright, so I'm playing the Rus, and my opponent is playing Haaschs Lancaster. Now, obviously I'm going for a second TC in this game. Now, before we start, this is just something I want to try. I try things all the time because, you know, it's always good to experiment, discover, you know, maybe if there's a different meta that's coming up. The point is, I'm always trying to discover new things, new ways to play the game, because, I mean, that's how you get better, right? Alright, so, all I'm saying is, this is not like the meta, okay? Anyway, I go for second TC, I have a really good deer spawn. I'm pretty familiar with the second TC build as Rus, in particular. It's not super hard. You buy 2 tickets with stone, you mine 50 stone. And you can see here, I'm well on my way to going second TC. Alright, so unfortunately for me in this game, I don't scout very well. And I expected him to go for a mana boom. But as we can see, that's not what he's doing. Now he is being very aggressive towards my base, something that I'm not really aware of. And something that's going to punish... that I'm going to be punished for quite a bit here. And you'll see in a bit. So I thought that this game in particular was really great to show you guys because... and again, you're going to see here, but I get so far behind in the game that if I don't react perfectly afterwards, I am for sure dead in this situation. And, you know, in theory, I should probably be dead in this situation anyway, but because, I mean, because I play better than him towards the end of the game, I can pull this off. Alright, so I'm going to pause here, because my game plan is go for second TC, essentially, right? And then play the game based on how my opponent's playing afterwards. So that's happened. I've gotten my second TC out. My opponent is all-winning me. I kind of see that, right? Because if he went manas, he wouldn't have this amount of units. Not only do we see hobos, we also see spearmen. So he has 2 production buildings at least. He could have a third. Which means he's not going for mana spam. Which means, I mean, default, he's all-winning you, right? And I have to act like he's all-winning me because... I mean, I don't have a single unit though on the field, right? So that's number 1. You have to assume he's all-winning you, especially in a situation like this. Especially when you've lost 4 villagers. You just have to assume, because if you don't assume that he's all-winning you, you're dead. So number 1, assume he's all-winning you. Number 2, scout. And that's what I'm gonna probably try to do here, is you have to scout, you have to confirm that he's owning you, is the second thing you have to do. And I think I do that with the scout here. Okay, so, as I mentioned earlier, I'm assuming that he's owning me. I'm getting my wooden fortress to secure my wood. Now, this is a roost thing, but I recommend you trying to secure all your resources in the case that he is owning you, right? So if you're any other civ, maybe wall this area, maybe build a tower if it's really exposed, but you have to secure your resources. Again, I mentioned I'm going to go scout him. Something that I did struggle with initially was, what units should I be building? And that's something that, you know, if I'm struggling with, I can imagine a lot of other people are struggling with as well. Because I saw that he was actually going Yeoman, Spearman, and Hoppers. What do you really build against every single unit type in the game, right? My initial thought was maybe Ultra Spearman, and then I was like, I'm not really sure. Is that really gonna work? I don't know. And what I actually decide on is Mass Knight. And I think in hindsight that this was the correct move. And there's a few reasons why I think Mass Knight was the correct move. And you can... Obviously, I'm playing Rus, so not every civs can go Knight in Feudal Age, but even if you don't have the ability to go Knights, I do recommend you going Mass Horseman, okay? And I'll tell you why in a few minutes. But obviously I scouted here, I saw his production buildings, I saw his stone, and we confirmed that he was owning me, right? I can even see the ram at this point. So we can see how fast he's doing this, right? He already has a ram, I don't even have a single unit out. Something very important you should be doing around your second TC is building a tower. Especially if you have more than 8 villagers here. Now again, I'm playing the Rus, so my towers are better. But what I would recommend, if you're playing any other civ in the game, is build a tower anyway. And if you need to, build a second tower. Because it's really, really important that if they try to dive you under your TC, you can garrison all your villagers. And again, the reason that this is so important is because you can see I lost 4 villagers at the start of the game. I'm just tied up now. So if I lose any more villagers here, then I probably won't be able to come back into the game. So if I didn't have this tower here, he could just dive my base completely, kill 13 minus 8, so 5 villagers, and I'd be, again, behind villagers, right? This is not the situation you want to be in. The tower, number 1, allows you to garrison your villagers, protecting your villagers. Number 2, it allows you to, you know, do damage to the enemy units while you fire. Alright, so your opponent's attacking you, he's built 2 rams. He's gotten his ranged armor upgrade. Top, high level gameplay, right? Like, this is essentially what you want to be doing when you attack. I have 1 knight out, almost 2, almost 3, so I don't really even have that many units out to defend this attack. Now, luckily for me, he doesn't have that many spearmen at this point. But you have to remember that, let's say even if he has a lot of spearmen, I still recommend going knights. And the reason I still recommend going knights is because you have the arrow fire from the TC, from the wooden fortress. Ideally, if you're another civ, a tower or 2 towers, right? Maybe even arrow sweats on those towers. Again, I recommend putting the towers behind the TC, because the TC is way tankier than your tower, right? So you should put it behind your TC. Right, so the first thing you want to be doing when he sends the rams to your base, garrison your villagers if the units are inside the TC range, right? They're not exactly inside yet, but they're going to be because the rams are coming. And if he doesn't protect these rams with his units, evacuate your villagers and start burning them down, right? If you evacuate your villagers and start burning down the rams, it forces him to come in with his units. And that's what he's going to do in a second. Because that's the only way to really stop this, right? once you've burned down a single ram or forced his units to come in, you can then Garrison again. Again, you're not in a rush to kill all of his units yet, because the timer is really how much health does my TC have. And these villagers that can garrison in the tower are also repairing them. Remember, you're not in a rush to kill his units until your ram gets very well. Sorry, not your ram. Until your TC gets well. You want to kill his ram. Now, in the meantime, your knights, your horsemen, whatever units you have to, you know, at the moment, ideally knights or horsemen, should be trying to kill this ram. Should be trying to kill this ram, because if his ram dies, that's essentially stopping the attack full stop, right? If he has no ram to kill your TC, then he's not killing villagers because you can garrison in the tower, right? And then he's just doing nothing. So he has to back off. Another important thing, if you're running mass horsemen knights, which again I recommend, you want to be sniping these spearmen straight off the bat. Straight off the bat. And that should be with your TC, with your knights, with your horsemen. The spearmen need to die. And I mean, it's obvious why the spearmen need to die, but the spearmen need to die because that is essentially the only barrier to you killing his battering ram. And the battering ram is the only barrier to you being under pressure, right? So number 1, spearman. Number 2, battering ram. Number 3, he runs away from the fight because he has nothing to siege you, alright? So target these spearmen with your TCs, target these spearmen with your knights, your horsemen, etc. And then you can kill the battering ram. Again, it's important that you keep your TC above burning. I'm not even concerned at this point when my TC is like 900 HP. It's concerning, but as long as I kill this ram before it starts burning or before my TC dies, I'm chilling, right? Because after I kill the ram, there's no pressure. And you can see I'm targeting the ram here, right? Again, these villagers that will garrison the tower, easy repair on the TC here. If they're under pressure, pop back into that tower. Obviously, in the meantime, the TC had all the villas, had maximum amount of villas garrisoned and was doing damage. You can see that he's starting to build more spearmen now, but since we've killed the ram, we're very, very protected, right? So that is the gist of how to defend this kind of all-in. Especially a very, very fast all-in, right? Where he's building rams extremely quickly. What I do recommend, especially if you have the wood for it, I probably should have went 2 stable Rocksmith instead of going 3 stable, but Blacksmith is very, very important in this situation. And the reason Rocksmith is so important is for the ranged damage upgrade. And you can think of your TC, your Wooden Fortress, as archers in this situation. But archers counter spearmen, right? It's important to have this ranged damage to kill the spearmen. It's important for your archers to have ranged damage to kill the spearmen. It's important for your TC to have ranged damage to kill the spearmen, right? I probably should have had this ideally before he attacks my TC, but, you know, everyone makes mistakes, right? No one's perfect. Alright, once you have defended the attack, and you're not under immediate threat, like the ram's under your TC, right? You can start cutting off reinforcements. And this is another great way to get an advantage in the game, right? Because, yes, I'm only going to kill a few yeomen here, maybe a spearman, but first of all, that's free damage, right? Every single unit you kill is a unit they don't have. And second of all, it makes the game harder for them to play. It means that their reinforcements aren't coming to their army immediately. They have to group their army before they come to your base. So that it means that there's less units actually attacking your base. And obviously I can see that his ram is here. Obviously the tower is doing great work. Not only helping me defend, but also giving me vision. Now at this stage, I'm feeling very confident. I'm getting second ranged upgrade. I'm switching into archers as well to support this Knight mass. Obviously, army value-wise, I'm still heavily into knights and heavily into horsemen if you're not going a knight civ, right? As you should be to defend. Melee units in particular, Cav is really good to defend because Rams get incoming melee damage increased by 20%. And it's really hard to kill Cav under a TC because you have that extra range damage, right? From the TC, from the tower, which makes it easier for you to kill Spearmen. So that's what makes Knights really, really good at defending. Now at this point, I'm just kind of waiting for him to attack, and we just kind of rinse and repeat, right? We garrison in the TC, we garrison in the Wooden Fortress, we wait for the Rams to come to our TC before we engage. By doing this, by waiting for the Rams to come to our TC before we engage, this forces him to commit to the fight, right? And we want him to commit to the fight because once he commits to the fight, that's when we can really start picking off all of his spearmen. And I'll show you here. Because if his Rams are... If I'm attacking his Rams, which I'm trying to target his Rams with these Knights, right? It forces his spearmen to come under TC fire, it forces his spearmen to come under Ultra fire. He can't walk away with his spearmen because he has to defend the Rams, right? That's the point. And you can see, I'm not targeting the spearmen, I'm not targeting the yeomen, I'm targeting the Rams. Now I'm targeting the spearmen because, you know, they can't run away. But before that, I wanted his spearmen to come in initially so that I could target the spearmen. And now this is just an easy W. Very easy defense. I haven't even had to repair any of my things. It's just kind of victory from this on. Again, I'm not going to go too much into this stage of the game. I feel like we covered how to defend a second TC from an all-in. I really hope that this game in particular, you guys learned a thing or two, because I thought... I actually wasn't thinking of making this game a video, but afterwards I'm like, wait, that actually was a really, really good defense. Really, really solid defense of a second TC that I think you guys could learn quite a bit from. Yeah, so if you guys did enjoy the video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed, if you commented, if you hit the like button. Everything helps, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.